Hi everyone and welcome one more day to the channel. Welcome to Seidr Art. As you can see, today I have changed room. I'm recording in a different room because in the room where I record usually today there are a lot of noises because they are making repairs in the building. So I changed to this room. The truth is that I like this better. I hope that you also like it and you will tell me on the comments. As you have seen in today's video title, I'm going to tell you about runes. It's a small introduction to what are the runes, the Nordic runes, the Viking runes. The runes is a big wall. You can be studying and doing a lot of research and reading time because I really get to know and understand the runes in depth. It's a very long way. It's a very nice way, but it's very long too. So this is a small introduction because in order to get to that point of knowing them in depth, it's basic to start small. Know where they come from and what the uses they had in the ancient times and with the intention with which were created. So I hope you like this video, and let's go. To know in depth the runes and being able to work with them, the best thing is start from the beginning and at the most easy. The word rune comes from the Proto-Germanic runo and the Old Norse rune, whose translation is secret, mystery or whisper. With this translation, we can get an idea of meaning and the true essence with the runes were created. Runes are phonemes, like the Latin alphabet that we use today, but runes were created in ancient times to communicate through symbols, therefore they are much more than easy phonemes. Runes are archetypes, are concepts that represent an idea that we can make real in the real world, in the physical world, and they have an energy and a power which they represent. It's the way in which the ancient Germanic and Nordic peoples created through the word and made it more real than the concept and the energy that the runes represented. It's the way in which they transmitted the knowledge and wisdom. We have to be very clear that our ancestors had a mind more open than now, and they had a lot of knowledge more extensive and deeper than we can now and what we can get to imagine. As you can imagine, we have found archaeological remains with described runes like stones, monuments and other kinds of buildings, but there are also very legacies important of all this culture are runic texts, manuscripts, poems. Perhaps the most surprising thing is that objects of daily use have been found with runes carved and writing on them, such as combs, watches, bracelets or belts. All these kind of objects have been found with carved runes. But not only that, the runes are also used for more than just carving or write on monuments or everyday objects. The runes were also used in the day by day, and they were a very important part and essential of custom and magic. We must remember that magic, divination and all of these kinds of practices were totally normal in the past. It was a part of daily life and it wasn't bad things. But before talking about the use and knowing deeply the meaning of the runes, we must know the origin and its relationship with the Germanic and Nordic peoples. Both the origin of the word rune and that of the rune itself is Germanic origin on the ancient Germanic peoples. But still they have found Etruscan inscriptions for the 3rd century of our age with runes appeared. Nordic runes were used approximately between the year 100 and the 1600 of our age before the Latin alphabet. Most of the runes were engraved on objects such as stone, wood, or bones. Therefore, we can think that it is one of the main reasons why runes have straight lines is that being hard surfaces, much more easy to carve runes with straight strokes than with more rounded lines. Runes are made up of straight strokes and can be written from left to right, from right to left, from top down, or inverted. The runes formed a very similar alphabet that the Latin that we use today, and the name of this alphabet is Futhark, and this is the oldest alphabet used by the Nordic and Germanic peoples. The name of the alphabet, Futhark, comes from the names of the first 6 runes that composes it. I put a drawing to you to make it much easier to understand. The first rune is the Feu rune, the second rune is Urus, the third Thurisaz, Ansus, Raido, and the last one Kenas. There are 2 types of Futhark that took place between the year 100 of our age and the 1600. The first of them are the ancient Futhark, or also known as Elder Futhark, and the next one is the younger Futhark. The names of runes are related to 3 very different aspects of life, but they really complement each other. The first of these is the environment of the gods of Norse mythology. The second one is the environment of nature with elements such as water, hail, ice, or wind. And the third of them is the human environment with aspects like cattle, wealth, or harvest. Old Futhark or Elder Futhark was in force and was being used from the year 100 of our age until the year 800 approximately, when it was replaced by the younger Futhark. Elder Futhark had 24 runes that were divided into 3 groups of 8 runes each. These 24 runes would correspond to 6 vowels and 18 consonants. The 3 groups or families in which the 24 runes were divided had the name of aet or aettir in plural. Here we already see the first connection point, the first point of union with the human environment, since aet is the ancestral name with which they called the family clans of the Scandinavian societies. Aet means family or clan. The order of runes within groups is not accidental and is predetermined. Each aet has 8 runes, and each of them are associated with a god of the Norse mythology. Coinciding with the name of the first rune is the name of the god with whom the aet is associated. I leave you the examples and you will see it much clearer. The first aet is that of the 8 runes of Freya. This aet begins with the Feu rune. The second is that of Heimdall Hagal, and it begins with the Agalas rune. And the third aet is that of the god Tyr, and it begins with the Tiwas rune. Each rune stays a fixed place within that division of groups, within that division of families, and to that place that occupies. Each rune is given the name of stead, which translated means place or site. Some people talk about a rune number 25, they called White Rune. In the 60s began to extend the use of this rune, and in the 80s the author Ralph Bloom included it in one of his works. Some people argue that this rune always had been used, but during many years it was forgotten, and thanks to all this movement turned to recover and start to install its use. Others say that really it's an invention of Ralph Bloom and it shouldn't be used. For me, in this case, always prefer keep the 24 runes of the Elder Futhark, the one that we really have evidence, but as in everything each, one choose what you like more or that you prefer. We keep talking about Elder Futhark, we have not left it any moment. As I said before, it's divided in 3 aet. Each of them is directly related with a god of the Norse mythology. I'm going to tell you a little above each aet with that god is related, what are the runes that is in it, and what is the relationship and the meaning of the group of the runes that form it. The first aet is that of the 8 runes of Freya. It's made out of the following runes: Feu, Urus, Thurisas, Ansus, Raido, Kenas, Gebo, and Unjo. These 8 runes are related directly with fertility, with gods, with the creation of the world. They are beginnings runes and focus especially in essential aspects of life, such as health, wellness, happiness, wealth, and balance. As we will see a little more forward, the pronunciation of the runes is different in each society and each culture. Even within the same society or the same language can change the pronunciation a bit, but that we'll see a little later. The next aet is the one of the 8 runes of Hagal or Heimdall, and it's made up of the following runes: Agalas, Naudis, Isa, Hera, Eiwas, Pxhere, Elas, and Sowilo. These runes are related with the creative forces and cosmic forces that are beyond the human control. They represent the wild, the norms, and the overtime. All these runes are necessary for personal growth. And the third aet is the one of the 8 runes of Tyr. And the runes are Tiwas, Berkano, Ewas, Manas, Lagus, Ingwas, Dagas, and Othala. These runes are related to the aspects of life that are real, that we can notice them day by day. These runes help us train as a species within society. And those are the main characteristics and views well about the Elder Futhark. Now I'm going to talk to you about a little bit of the Younger Futhark. The Younger Futhark comes from the World 1 and stays using approximately from the year 800 of our age until 1600. It's formed 16 runes, unlike the old one that has 24, and these runes were also divided into 3 aettir that have 6, 5, and 5 runes each of them. The gods with those that are related, the aettir of this Futhark, are exactly the same as those of the Elder Futhark. The first one is Freya, the second one Heimdall Hagal, and the third one of Tyr. Younger Futhark has several kinds of runes. There are the long branch runes or Danish runes, short branch runes or Norwegian, Swedish runes, runes of Helsingia, which are those that have no axis vertical, and the Icelandic runes. Younger Futhark was used more than the Elder Futhark until eventually it was replaced by the Latin alphabet. Even so, the Younger Futhark became into the medieval runes with 27 runes, and the Dalecarlian runes that they had its origin in the Swedish province of Dalarna. These Dalecarlian runes have a combination of medieval runes and from the Latin alphabet. In this area, they were using the runes until early 20th century, and they made transcripts in Efdalian, which was their language. And this is the summary of which are the runes. A small introduction to runes, because I've already said at the beginning that it's a big wall, super deep, and you have to read and study hard. This is a small introduction to be able to work and know the runes much better, because if we don't know them, we will not be able to work with them, and it's imperative that we know where they come from, their origin, their meaning, and the reason because they were created, and how they start to be used in all aspects of life of the Nordic societies of that time. We have seen where the runes come from, their origin, the passage of the elder Futhark to the younger Futhark, and how they were using until early 20th century, when stopped to using with the implantation of the Latin alphabet. Even so, the runes have recovered, and well, now you see that they are now again very updated, but it's really essential to, as I said, that we know to be able to work with them and to understand its meaning and its energy. Well, that is today's video. It's a little introduction because we will continue talking about the runes in other videos, but I hope you like it. And if you want to know more already, you know what you have to do. You leave it in the comments or write me, as you wish. Well, we are preparing things anymore. I hope you like it, and we will see you in the next video. Take care of yourselves. A kiss.